Oh. This smell just took me back to a corridor of a retirement home in Germany. It was winter. Somewhere in the building, a radio was playing, "Morning Has Broken," very softly. I noticed a 91-year-old man. He was struggling to put on his jacket. So I rushed over and helped him. He looked at me gratefully and said, "I never imagined someone from Africa would help me." How do I react to that? I did not know what to do with that sentence. In that moment, two worlds had met, both carrying invisible baggage. I wondered, what does Africa mean in his mind? And if I am being honest, what does Germany mean in mine? Now, let me ask you. You don't have to answer that. What do you see when you see me? You see, growing up, it never occurred to me to identify myself as African, as a continent. I knew my street, my family, my name. I knew almost nothing about him. I did not know what it meant to grow up in Germany in his time. I did not know what it meant to live through war. He had lived in the German Democratic Republic. In German, we call it the DDR era, meaning he experienced two dictatorships in one lifetime. That surely shaped him. So, there we were. Two people from two different worlds brought together by a single encounter. And that is what my talk is about today. Because even small encounters, the ones we might easily overlook, can change what becomes possible between people. Before I go on, I would like us to try something. Please take a look at your hands for a second. Just notice them. Those hands have created countless of small encounters in your life. Opening doors, saying hi to people, picking up a call, tucking a child in, petting a dog, offering help, or choosing not to. Small encounters are happening all the time. The question is whether we are mindful enough to even notice them. And it's not only about strangers. Often, it is the people we care about the most who need those moments from us. When I moved to Germany in 2017, I had given up on music. Back in Lagos, Nigeria, I had pursued music for many years. And by the time I arrived in Germany, I was tired. I wanted a clean start. And when I arrived in Germany, permit me to use this word, music found me in the shittiest of places. Shittiest. This, it's not a metaphor. Music found me in a toilet. Let me explain. I moved to Dessau-Roßlau to study my master's program. 1 week after I arrived, there was a students' Christmas party. I was excited, let's go party. But the music was terrible. Some students who had seen my videos on Instagram asked me to perform. I refused. It was a new country, lots of new faces. I felt intimidated, so I escaped to the toilet. But the melody stayed with me. I started singing almost like a reflex. The bathroom towels made my voice echo. I sang. I thought I was alone, but I wasn't. Someone heard me and pushed me onto the stage. I didn't even wash my hands. I started singing. People started recording. And in that strange moment that someone chose not to ignore, that encounter breathed life into a dream I had buried. Let me tell you about Dessau Roßlau. Dessau Roßlau has one of the highest proportions of elderly people in Germany. It is in the state of Saxony-Anhalt, in the east of Germany. A student at my university wanted to explore this growing gap between generations, so she invited me and some other international students to visit a retirement home. Honestly, I was skeptical. Me, a black guy, in a room full of seniors who experienced the Second World War. I was nervous. And then I caught myself. Why was the thought of that encounter making me uncomfortable? It was not about the seniors themselves, but because history is present in a room, even when nobody speaks about it. At that time, none of us spoke any German. But we had a resident who used to be a professional translator, so she translated for us. But she lived with dementia. So we had to repeat ourselves over and over again. The language barrier felt heavy, but we had music. Music became our first contact, not understanding, not agreement, just a shared rhythm. We sang songs the seniors had heard on the radio. Some even told us that they had to listen to a certain type of music in secret during the DDR era. And that reminded me of my grandfather back home. He had those kind of television you could lock. He was the head of the family, so we had to wait for him to watch television. He often came back late, so as a child, I watched television through my neighbor's window. Different countries, different decades, but the same truth. When something matters, people find a window, they find a way. Our hangouts with the seniors eventually turned into a project. We formed a small band. We called it Homies and Omis. It was beautiful. We performed around the city. We came back week after week. That repetition mattered. But unfortunately, the university project had to end. The visit stopped, so the seniors kept asking me, "Oh, when are you coming back?" I had this thought, why make it a one-off project? Why not make it a tradition? In 2019, I founded One Community Project, a project that brings people together across age, background, language, through music. Not as a show, but as repeated encounters. Because the goal was never waiting for the perfect moment, but leaving many small ones. Music became our common ground because everyone could enter, no matter your age, background, passport, or past. You don't have to explain yourself to belong. For a long time, we have learned to protect ourselves by keeping distance. You know what? Let's try an exercise. Look for someone next to you or behind you, someone you did not arrive with today. Introduce yourself. Just your name. For example. Wait. For example. We do it like this. Simple. Okay. Hi, my name is Aditayo. What's your name? Rosina. Then you ask one question. What artist or song reminds you of your childhood? Just the first thought. Mine, Rosina, right? Yes. Mine was Michael Jackson. And yours? Spice Girls. So, you see what just happened there? You're going to repeat it. Just Say your name and ask the question, what artist or song reminds you of your childhood? Take 15 seconds each and let's go. Swap. Okay, please swap. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, wow, wow. Wow, thank you. Thank you very much, thank you. Thank you, you can stop now, It's okay, yeah. Yeah, thank you. You notice what just happened there? In under a minute, Rosina, that was a stranger, became a person with a shared memory. You all know what happened in 2020. The world shut down. Rehearsals stopped. I lost my student job. The gigs disappeared overnight. One day I was passing by the retirement home and the street was unusually empty. People passed each other wearing masks. Eyes lowered, shoulders tensed, as if we were all trying to become smaller. Encounter was a bad thing. And suddenly, I heard shouting up from above, too tipsy, residents leaning over their balcony, smiling and waving down at me, and then this happened.
La, 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 la. Yes, hey, you. La, 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 la. Ich schwitze. La, 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 la. Hey, you.
After that encounter, something clicked. If we cannot go in, we could sing from outside, but unfortunately, the restrictions tightened. I still had no job, no contact. One resident, Anita kept asking about me. She didn't have Facebook or Instagram. She asked the caregivers to reach out to me, to invite me back. I didn't want to go back. I wasn't in a good place. Eventually, I showed up. Before you could enter, you had to take the COVID test. You remember the swab, that sting, that constant disinfectant that stayed in your nose. While I stood there, the head of this retirement home asked me, "How are you doing?" I broke down. I told her how small my world had become. She looked at me and then said, "You have helped us a lot. We need to find a way to make your life easier." The next morning, I got a text, "Would you like to work with us?" I said yes. My shift started early. I would bike through the cold, unlock the doors, set the tables, prepare breakfast, and wait for the first sound of the lift. That soft ding, the slow roll of wheels, and then one by one, the residents arrived. Some in pain, some anxious, some searching for words they could not find. Some cheerful because seeing a new face gave them a promise of a brighter day. And Anita, it was always Anita. Anita would reach out for my hands. My hands were often cold from winter or wet from constant disinfectant. Anita would hold them as if she could pass warmth into me. And that is when I realized small encounters are not cute. They are necessary. No, they are essential. One day, I was at the dementia care unit. I was talking to a resident. I told him I would like to learn the valse because I was invited to a wedding. And one resident, another one, heard me from behind our walker, rollato, and she shouted, "I will teach you, I will teach you." And suddenly the room changed. Everyone started talking about Tanzstunde, dance lessons, music, memories, and we followed the spark. We organized one community gala, a small evening that brought young people, seniors, friends together in the same room and danced to the same shared songs, to the same rhythm. Ta, ta, da, da, ta, 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 ta. Not for an audience, but for us. That small idea grew into a documentary. The youngest participant was 9, the oldest was 96. That documentary, Noch einmal Walzer, which means to waltz once more, later received the Federal Prize for Civic Education and Democracy in Germany. It was not the recognition that mattered. What mattered was what happened in the room. People who felt invisible became present again. People who were lonely became part of something again. People who were careful and reserved with each other became cheerful again. One shared rhythm. Ta, ta da da, ta, ta, ta. Repeated. Why does this matter? Prejudice survives in silence, in places where we do not meet, we do not speak, we do not look at each other long enough. When you disinfect your worldview. Distance doesn't just keep us apart physically, it gives our fears the space to grow. Living in Germany was the first time I ever felt how quickly a person can be reduced to an assumption. Dignity can be so fragile when we rely on distance instead of relationships. The hard truth is this: I cannot sing or dance my way into a grocery store. I cannot perform my way into an examination hall. All I can do is to hope that I encounter someone kind, someone willing to see me as a person. Remember Horst, the 91-year-old man who said, "I never imagined someone from Africa would help me. I never asked him what he meant, and I would never understand this inner world. But I do know this. After our first encounter, we became very good friends." For him, Africa stopped being an abstract concept. It became a person and then a friend. For me, Germany stopped being a country whose history I approached with caution. It became a place where repeated shared moments turned they into we. After I stopped working at the retirement home, I visited Horst. He showed me a handwritten list of songs that we used to sing together. He said to me, "Whenever I miss you, I sing these songs to myself and they lift my spirits." We both cried. That was the last time I saw him before he passed away. If you want to create encounters that connect people, do not wait for big opportunities. Start with one shared moment. A song, a dance, one shared rhythm. Ta, ta da da, ta, 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 ta. Pick up the call. A meal, a smile. And you know that raised eyebrow that says, "I see you." But here's the most important part. Keep the door open long enough so trust can enter and judgment can exit. Yes, long enough. Maybe home is not a place. Maybe home is a person. Maybe home is what happens when we stop seeing labels and start seeing people. The opposite of prejudice is not perfect opinions. The opposite of prejudice is relationships. It was nice to meet you, Rosina.